All right, Billy, so we are back taking a look at yet another Pro Football Focus rankings list. And for those of you guys who are new, go ahead and subscribe, like the video if you enjoy. And also, go subscribe to Billy's channel, Owen the C. I will have a link to it down in the pinned comment in the comments section down below. Let's get Billy to 1,000 subscribers, darn it. But Billy, today we're going to be taking a look at the running back rankings, the top 32 starting running backs going into the 2021 NFL season. And yeah, let's not waste any time, man. Let's get started, Billy. Number 32, Mark Ingram II of the Houston Texans. Now, the Texans have been making a lot of weird moves, specifically at running back. They have like 10 guys. What are your thoughts on Mark Ingram here?
I'm gonna look. I'm not a fan right out the gate. I actually don't love it, and I'm really curious to see like how the Buccaneers are going to be ranked on here, because I could make an argument. Yeah, Mark Ingram, I just had to check it out. He had less than 300 yards rushing last year. That's fantastic, but I hate it right out the gate. I already hate it. I'm very upset already, honestly.
For everybody watching this, Billy has not seen this list ahead of time. He's seen a lot of these lists that we're going to be uploading here on the channel ahead of time, but not all of them. This one specifically. Number 31, Kenyon Drake of the Las Vegas Raiders is now number 31. They signed him to a big extension. I assume that this isn't just like specifically one running back per team, because you obviously think about Josh Jacobs, right? If you're the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm thinking we should have multiple running backs on this list. So I'm already I'm feeling ready.
You're already sweating a little bit. So yeah. Kenyon Drake, number 31. We'll see what he can do for the Raiders. They gave him a lot of money. Chase Edmonds of the Arizona Cardinals at number 30. He is now taking over for Kenyon Drake. So good job for him for getting that promotion. So yeah, you can have multiple running backs on this list. It's almost like a wide receiver or tight ends rankings list, okay? Which we will talk about those in future videos. James White of the New England Patriots at number 29. Thoughts on that? Almost a Tampa Bay Buccaneer potentially.
Almost a buck. If we didn't get Gio, I'd be sitting here right now banging on this table saying we should have got James.
Right. So congratulations to James White there. He goes back to New England. He should be very good for that offense. Number 28. This one's interesting. Clyde Edwards-Helaire of the Kansas City Chiefs, all the way down at number 28, Billy.
That doesn't surprise me that much. He's like, I feel like he got a little bit too much hype because of how crazy his like initial jump into the league was. You know, Everybody was blown away by him right out the gate. He played in prime time and balled out. But to me, he's like, I don't know, maybe a little bit higher, but I wouldn't put him out of the 20s.
Right, and this list is going to get crazy, if I remember correctly. So number 27, we have Nyheim Hines of the Indianapolis Colts. Actually, there's a handful of people who wanted him on the Colts once his contract expired after this season, but now Giovani Bernard, it seems like that's not even a necessity, because he is a very solid receiving back, caught 83.3% of the passes thrown his way. So he's a good running back in that committee over there in Indianapolis. So good for Hines there to get all the way up at number 27. Number 26, you have J.K. Dobbins of the Baltimore Ravens coming in now into a situation where he might be the number one guy now. He did some pretty decent stuff on a limited capacity last year, Billy.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. I like both of the last two.
And this one, number 25, Ronald Jones of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in at number 25. Here's the paragraph. Ronald Jones produced the number 6 Pro Football Focus rushing grade last season, averaging 3.65 yards after contact per carry. Jones is an exceptional ball carrier, but problematic in the passing game, where he dropped 11% of catchable targets thrown his way in his NFL career. Billy, Ronald Jones at number 25.
All right. I have so much I feel like I want to say. First thing I really feel like I need to say is I'm super curious if Ronald Jones is going to be the only Buck or the lowest Buck on this list, because I wonder if they're thinking of him as the best of our running backs or the worst of our running backs. So I'm very curious about that. The other thing I'd like to say is they ranked him as the 6th best rusher last year, but now he's nowhere near 6 going into next year. So I guess they're putting a lot of emphasis on that passing game. Like, they're clearly really dinging him literally 20 spots, essentially, because of his one-dimensional nature. And now, I mean, you could speak to this too. You and I have discussed this very many times. Ronald Jones is a very one-dimensional player. A good player. I like Ronald Jones. People forget like how good of a year Ronald Jones was having last year up until, the point where the Buccaneers decided to give him no touches in that game against the Saints, where they set the all-time, not that he had no touches, but they set the all-time record for fewest rush attempts in a game. Then, of course, the injury, getting placed on the illness list, the pinky. Ronald Jones was like all over the place at the end of the season. But that's a story for another day. I think Ronald Jones, I'm kind of surprised he's on the list. But what are your thoughts? Go ahead.
So in terms of it's not that they ranked him number 6 last year. They're saying in the entirety of the 2020 season, Ronald Jones was the sixth best rusher in terms of production. He was the sixth.
That's a ranking.
Right. So no, they're not saying that like, hey, going into the 2020 season, Ronald Jones, we think he's going to be the 6th best rusher. He was the 6th best pure runner.
Right. They ranked his last year production, and they said he was 6th according to our metrics.
Oh, okay. I thought that you were saying that it was a situation where it's like, oh, they said he was going to be the 6th best rusher last year, and now they have him at 25.
No, I don't think anybody would have expected Ronald Jones to be as good as he was last year.
Right. So basically, this is Pro Football Focus saying, hey, Ronald Jones is a pure runner as a running back, and like just being a guy who gets the football and runs down the field. Like, he's the 6th best guy, top 10. But he is so bad at catching the football, it drops him all the way down to 25.
So bad.
So you can make an argument that like him being this good of a runner is maybe one of the only reasons he's on this list.
Well, James, let me ask you this, and I think I already know what you're going to say, but in terms of our running backs, and we could just look at the top 2, Leonard, Fournette, Ronald Jones, who do you think is the better pure runner of the 2?
I would say, seemingly Ronald Jones, at least, to say that the man is the number 6 Pro Football Focus rushing grade last year. We saw him, Billy. Ronald Jones was on something last year.
He was unstoppable, and I think a lot of it had to do with everybody kind of expected, or at least a large portion of the fans and people that I talked to about the Bucs expected Leonard Fournette to take his job. They thought for sure when we signed Leonard Fournette, just a matter of time. Like a later, once he learns the playbook, Ronald Jones will do something goofy, fumble, whatever, and Leonard Fournette's going to take his job. And really, even though that is kind of what happened a little bit once the playoffs started, playoff Lenny emergence and all that, but that only came out of injury. That did not come out of Ronald Jones' lack of production or how he played. Mm-hmm. That Leonard Fournette's opportunity only came because Ronald Jones was physically unable to perform. So Ronald Jones really held Leonard Fournette back last year, kept him at bay. And people forget, week 13 or against the Minnesota Vikings coming off of our bye week, he was the 4th leading rusher in the whole league. People forget, Ronald Jones was on fire last year for the Bucs for a large portion of the season.
Yeah, and, I will say, I'm one of the biggest Ronald Jones guys, I think, out there. I love Ronald Jones. I want to see him be the starting running back. I want to see him succeed, right? But I will admit, the dude has had a tough time catching the football. We've seen it time and time again. The dude just struggles, and he's been working on it. It's not for lack of effort. The man is trying to be a better receiving back. It's just not there yet. It's one of the reasons why they brought in Giovani Bernard. And I will say in today's NFL, when you value a running back who can not only be a good runner but a good receiver as well, Ronald Jones, he's halfway there, right? Maybe he can develop that other part of his game here in the next year or two if the Buccaneers do bring him back and re-sign him. But right now, he's just a phenomenal runner. Hey, basically a top 10 runner. But in terms of a receiver, that second half of what it means to be a running back in today's NFL, he's not there yet.
Can I just throw out something, too? This is like a crazy conspiracy theory that I've had in my mind for a little while. And
sure.
It feels like drop it. So Ronald Jones, I really only remember last year like 3 or 4 catches that he made that actually stick in my mind as like, good play, Ronald, right? Mm-hmm. Only 4. I'm not going to run through them all right now. He did have 28 catches on the season, which is not a lot. But obviously I forgot all 24 of the other ones, which shows how forgettable they were. But I have this weird thing. If you go back and you watch a lot of the games, right? You watch a lot of the highlights or the plays, whatever. When Tom Brady throws the ball to Ronald Jones, whether it's a screen pass, a check down, a swing, he literally throws the ball at his ankles every time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could tell me that Tom Brady's missing that throw, but he doesn't throw it to Leonard Fournette's ankles. He throws it right here to Leonard Fournette's chest, so Leonard Fournette could catch it, turn upfield. He doesn't even give Ronald Jones the chance because and this is where that's a fact. This is now my opinion. I think he actually looks at it as just like pretty much a dead play. Like if I throw it high to Ronald Jones, it's a good chance it's going to get tipped up and picked by somebody behind him. If I just throw it at his ankles, it's probably going to be incomplete. It's a safe bet that we're not going to have to worry about it. If he happens to catch it, good. He'll stand up, maybe run for something. That's great. But to me, Tom Brady's all about managing risk on the football field. He's very anti-turnover. And when I watch him throw the ball to Ronald Jones, he literally displays no faith in Ronald Jones to catch the ball with anybody around him. So he just basically throws it right at his ankles. And it's alarming, really, how often it happens. And there's instances where Ronald Jones catches the ball at his ankle, stands up, and then fumbles. Because anything involving a catch is difficult for Ronald, unfortunately.
Yeah, so like I said, obviously Giovani Bernard's there now. We'll see what happens with Ronald Jones. He's in the last year of his contract, much like a lot of guys who have upcoming expiring deals. So we'll see where Ronald Jones is. But hey, positive, Ronald Jones, phenomenal runner. Almost a top 5 pure running back in the league. So receiving guy, you could argue one of the worst starting guys. So just...
It doesn't make any sense.
Right, so, but I still love Ronald Jones, by the way. I hope he improves. Of course I hope he improves. So, moving on to number 24, Billy, we have Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. Pretty interesting there. Number 23, we have Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars, a guy who just got drafted.
Yeah, interesting. Wow, and they're working him at a receiver in OTAs, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously they have a lot of faith in him. We'll see what he can do. 22, Devin Singletary of the Buffalo Bills. I would maybe have Ronald Jones at number 24, maybe above Javonte Williams. We can talk about that in a little bit, though. 21, Tony Pollard of the Dallas Cowboys. So the backup running back in Dallas is at number 21. Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20, another rookie. Miles Sanders of the Philadelphia Eagles at number 19. James Robinson of the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 18. Number 17, Melvin Gordon III of the Denver Broncos. Number 16, Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. At number 15, you have Antonio Gibson of the Washington Football Team. Joe Mixon of the Bengals at 14. David Montgomery of the Bears at 13. Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys is at number 12. Number 11, Austin Eckler of the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 10, Kareem Hunt of the Cleveland Browns. Number 9, Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 8, Chris Carson of the Seattle Seahawks. Number 7, we have Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. Number 6, Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. Number 5, Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints. Number 4, Bradley Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. Number 3, Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. Number 2, Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings. Then number 1, Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. Billy, anything on this list that jumps out to you? Obviously, 2 big things to note. Leonard Fournette and Giovani Bernard are not on this list in any capacity.
Yeah, that was the first thing that jumps out to me too. Bums me out. I do understand it though. I feel like as we got further to the top, you can realize they put a lot of emphasis on guys that could do a lot of different things. So clearly their running backs and the scheme they're running, they got to be versatile. And it makes more sense why Ronald Jones got bumped all the way down. I am a little surprised, though, that they think Ronald Jones is our best running back. I think that's probably maybe the biggest takeaway that's from it that I take is right when we first got to Ronald Jones, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, is he going to be the best running back and the only one, or is he going to be the worst running back and he's behind another guy or two? But I could make an argument that the Bucs should have 3 players on this list, at least 2. To me, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you saw what Leonard Fournette could do last year. You could make a real strong case that the Bucs don't win the Super Bowl without Leonard Fournette's contributions. And the only thing that kept Leonard Fournette from making those contributions earlier in the season was how good the other guy who's on this list, Ronald Jones, was playing. So, I don't know. And then, James, you know how I feel about Giovani Bernard.
I would make this argument. Okay, we see a lot of guys on here, right, who are in committees. We have 2 running backs from the Cowboys, 2 running backs from the Colts, 2 running backs from the Browns, 2 running backs from the Raiders, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see these guys, they're in committees. A lot of the times they have the pure runner on this list, that being Josh Jacobs and whoever else, and then you have the receiving guy. Oh my gosh, the new runner, the Kenyon Drake for the Raiders. Or you have Hines with the Colts, and then higher up on the list, you have Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. I'm very surprised. And Ezekiel Elliott, the pure runner for the Cowboys. Tony Pollard, the receiving back for the Cowboys. Kareem Hunt, the receiving back, kind of mix-it-up guy for the Browns. Bradley Chubb, the pure runner for the Browns. I am very surprised that Giovani Bernard is not on this list. And it's not, for goodness sakes, the Broncos have the 17th running back and the 24th running back. The Jacksonville Jaguars have number 23, Travis Etienne, and number 18, James Robinson. I mean, I feel that Ronald Jones, I feel like he does have a spot on this list, but I think that Giovani Bernard should be on here. I think that Giovani Bernard should be on here maybe over Mark Ingram, maybe over Kenyon Drake, maybe over Chase Edmonds, because of the offense that he's joining with Tom Brady. Billy, you even talked about how you felt that, hey, Giovani Bernard might be arguably the most impactful weapon on this offense when everything's said and done because of what Tom likes to do with running backs. I mean, James White is on here, and James White isn't going to be the number 1 running back specifically. He's going to be in a committee with Sony Michel, with some of those other running backs that are in New England right now. So I really feel Giovani Bernard should have been on here.
You stood on the table for Giovani Bernard, so I'm not going to get too crazy with it because you already got it out. But, I mean, yeah, James White's on the list because of what Tom Brady did with James White. Giovani Bernard is playing with that same guy in Tom Brady. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I would agree, but I think a lot of that just comes from the fact that he played for the Cincinnati Bengals. Small market team. A lot of people don't even really know who Giovani Bernard is. Like, time will tell. You'll see. And I told you my biggest fear was that they become too dependent on Giovani Bernard like halfway through the season. But I'm going to push the argument for Leonard Fournette. Mm-hmm. Like, Leonard Fournette not shown you that he could be a top 32 running back in the league? Like, the only reason he didn't do top 32 running back, caliber things this year is just potentially because the guy in front of him was already a top 32 running back and was producing at the level of top 10. So, I'm not saying that Ronald Jones is worse than or better than Leonard Fournette, but I am saying that Leonard Fournette, to say that he's not as good as Mark Ingram is really kind of pathetically laughable to me. Like, Mark Ingram?
So you're saying Leonard Fournette should be in there in that 30 to 32 range. I'm saying Giovani Bernard should probably be in there in that 30 to 32 range. I mean, it's interesting. We'll see. I mean, and I will say Pro Football Focus are supposed to be the guys who go in depth, right? They're supposed to talk about the guys that nobody else talks about. So, I don't know. This one is a little interesting, in my opinion. I mean, I don't disagree with it wholeheartedly. I mean, obviously very happy for Ronald Jones to get in there at number 25, especially whenever some teams have 2 guys in there. Some guys don't have any running backs in there, So, I mean, that is pretty good to get one guy in there for the Bucs. Ronald Jones at number 25. I would maybe move him up to, say, number 23, something like that. Maybe above Javonte Williams, maybe above Travis Etienne, because we haven't seen what he's been able to do yet. I don't know if Tony Pollard should be at 21. I mean, there's some question marks all around this list. I mean, overall, top half isn't that bad. It's just that second half where it gets a little confusing, maybe in like the 20 down range, And
I'm really crazy because you got to take into account, too, like the situations, like perspective-wise, each guy's situation. Tony Pollard is a backup. So when he's coming in the game, nobody's looking at Tony Pollard. Like, there's no pressure on him to succeed. There's no, like, element of game planning against him. He's Tony Pollard. And I don't even mean like he's a bad player, but he's not the main concern of anybody who's playing the Dallas Cowboys. So, you got to look at, like, situationally, like, come on. Like, Ronald Jones played for his job last year, and he was outstanding. Like, the only thing that dings Ronald Jones, it's very clear to me what dings Ronald Jones. It's just the fact that third down, you really can't even have him on the field because he's proven to be unreliable,
A
and
liability.
can't catch the ball. So, third downs, you literally cannot have him out there. You just got to go empty set. And first and second down, he could be on the field, but third down, you can't have him out there. But to tell me that Tony Pollard is more valuable to a team, or that he's going to have a better season, that is just absurdity. And even with Leonard Fournette, in a sense, put the team on his back in the biggest games of the year. At the highest stage, Tony Pollard has never had to experience that. Like, I'm sorry, at what point does that matter? At what point does the situation matter? Like, Tony Pollard has never done anything pressure-packed in his entire NFL career. To me, that matters. To me, that's important,
Yeah. So I would definitely have Ronald Jones, maybe up even as high as 21, maybe taking Tony Pollard's spot and then moving around some of the guys in 21 down. I'm sure if they expanded this list to, say, top 40, I'm sure we might see Leonard Fournette and Giovani Bernard there, but who knows? Guys, what do you think about this list? Let us know down in the comments section below. Ronald Jones, the 25th best running back going into the upcoming 2021 season. Giovani Bernard and Leonard Fournette not on this list. So, what do you guys think about the Pro Football Focus list here? Let us know your thoughts. Go subscribe to O in the C, Billy's YouTube channel. We're trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers. This link to the channel will be pinned in the comment section down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.